One thing that is very hard for me to talk about is my middle school days. It was really rough, and I'm sure everybody has been through the ringer when going through middle school. One topic that I take really seriously is bullying because this is tough. Because in middle school, it was less than stellar. So when I sat down and watched episode 18, I was already sad at the topic at hand. So if today's video feels more somber than usual, that's my reasoning for it, or my excuse. That being said, if you find this topic sensitive like I do, please be cautious watching further ahead. One thing I love in episode 18 very dearly is how much character progression Yuki goes through. He's fleshed out so well in the remake, and it brings me so much joy. If you enjoy this daily series on Fruits Basket comparisons, please consider subscribing for more. I see the stats. You better start subscribing or else I'll be super sad. Just kidding, but it would be pretty cool of you. One last thing I wanted to bring up is I'll be doing a Q&A for my 1-year anniversary, so I'd really appreciate it if you left any questions about anything you want to know about me down below. I'll also be giving away something special, so look forward to that. Well, with that info dump out of the way, I hope you're ready to jump back into the world of Fruits Basket. I'm BriThi, your local DJ, and in today's video, we're going to compare episode 18 of the remake to the original.
Ame. よかったです。一時はどうなることかと。止むまでもう少し待ってようか。はい。もうゴールデンウィークも終わりだね。そうですね。休みが明けたらすぐ中間テストだ。あ、ですがその前に生徒会役員選挙がありますね。武井会長さんは後任にはぜひゆきくんをっておっしゃってるそうですが、ゆきくんはやはりお嫌ですよね。あの人、他の人もそうだけど、何を期待してるのか知らないけど勘違いしてて困る。本当の俺なんてもっといや、なんでもない。
So one thing that always bothered me about this part in the original was how that shelter from the rain definitely would not have done the job. They still would have gotten soaked. Like, wind exists and that itty bitty space is nothing. So one thing that was changed was the shelter that Toru and Yuki stood under. It was changed from a little indent in a wall to a station. One thing that was added to the remake was a classic oof face from Toru when Yuki brought up the final exams. Both scenes included Yuki's not too happy reaction at the student council president wanting him to take his place. His reaction was toned down a bit from the original though. The remake also added in an additional flashback scene of when he asked Yuki to take his place. This was a nice touch to flesh out the scene more. God, just seeing Yuki sad here is really preparing me for what's to come.
噛まれちゃったのね。
はい、びっくりしたです。
キサ、ちゃんと謝るんだ。
私は平気ですので。
キサ、ユキくん、さっちゃんは話さないよ。
話せないんだ。中学に入学してしばらく経った頃からぷっつり。鳥兄が言うには心が原因だって。言葉を封じ込めちゃったんだって。そんなこんなで話せなくなって不登校になって、しまいには今日家からいなくなった。だから探してた。見つけた時虎になっててびっくりした。ミッケ、
異性の方にぶつかって。
単に弱っただけみたい。
で、結局何があってそういうことになったの？
あれいじめ。
I think it's pretty funny how Kisa's in the corner like timeout time. It reminds me of when I would be put in the corner in elementary school. God, did that suck. In the remake, they actually put Kisa in the corner, while in the original she was in the corner of a cabinet and the wall. The remake also included a darker shadow around Kisa to highlight how she was in a bad place compared to the others. One thing I never noticed as a kid was that tattoo Hatsuhara has. Was it missing in the original? I gotta go back and look at that. Either way, man, Hatsuhara, out of all the tattoos you could have chosen, you chose to get a tribal tattoo? That hurts me physically. Another addition to the remake was just a subtle ear flicker from Kisa. It shows at exactly what point she was interested in what Hatsuhara was saying. One last thing I want to point out was in the original, Yuki's face was never shown during the whole conversation of bullying. He was facing Kisa the whole time. This highlighted before how much they relate to each other in this subject. This was something I really loved in the original.
似てるから放っておけないだけ。一度 何も話さなくなったユキにぎゅーって体縮めて沈黙して、そうやって自分を守るしかなかったユキに似てるから。
やめろよ。
お、そんなに怒ることかい？
怒ることだ。
恥ずかしいの？
そうやって火に油を注ぐようなことすぐ言うの先生の悪い癖だな。
これ勝負になり。
So these two scenes went about things differently. The original chose to expand on the search for Kisa, while the remake expanded on the conversation between Yuki, Shigure, and Hatsuhara. I'm going to start with the original. Yuki is obviously going through something with the way he is acting with everything going on. He is quiet and his expressions show great sadness. The original also shows the process of Toru finding Kisa when she ran off. This was missing in the remake, but it was replaced with a much better scene in my opinion. The remake decided to give a clear reason to Hatsuhara for being so caring over Kisa. This also shows a great reason on why Kisa's situation hits so close to home for Yuki. All around, this was a fantastic addition to the remake compared to the original. It adds so much more emotion and character building for Yuki and Hatsuhara. You can really tell how much Hatsuhara cares for Yuki because he sees a part of Yuki in Kisa, that being when Yuki was at his lowest. Another moment I really enjoyed was Shigure edging Yuki on. He plays it off as a joke, but this just highlights the central theme of Shigure being a mastermind with a plan in action. More on that in another video, hee hee. But let's move on to the next scene.
キサお母さんよ。しぐれさんがね、わざわざ電話してくれたのよ。ねえ、あなた何やってるの？周りに迷惑ばっかりかけて何してるの？何考えてるの？お母さん困らせて楽しい？
もののけに疲れた子供を持ったお母さんは、不必要なほど過保護になるか気絶するかのどっちかなんだ。
Oh, the power of modern day facial expressions. So the one thing I really noticed between these two is the mother's expressions. In the remake, she is shown with such a destroyed atmosphere surrounding her. It seems like she has really given up on her child. You can't really tell the difference in the original, so this was a great change. I'm saying this not as a jab to the original, but to highlight the evolution and progress of animation. This is something that could not be easily achieved back in 2001, so it's great to see so many improvements to the remake through updated animation traits. One thing I love in this scene was throwing back to the previous statement that Momiji made about parents. It was a great inclusion to just remind the viewers in case they forgot. It also highlights a good example of what he is talking about with relationships between parents and their cursed children.
疲れた。もういいや。
言えないです。いじめられてるなんてやっぱり言いづらいです。私も言えなかったです。でもしばらく経って知られてしまって、その時何やら私はバカみたいに謝ってしまって、何かとても情けなくて、いじめられるような自分が情けなく思えてきて、それをお母さんに知られたのが恥ずかしくて、もし嫌われたらどうしようと考えたら怖くて。
怖くて、そんな自分を知られたくなくて、必死に虚勢を張って隠そうとして、そんな自分がもっと情けなくて恥ずかしくて。
The look Kisa's mother had when she said she was tired really broke my heart. I cannot imagine the pain Kisa must be going through hearing that from her mother. Yuki is positioned a bit differently in these scenes as well. In the original, he is propped next to a tree, while in the remake, he is just around the corner. Toru's speech shows her experience with bullying. She knows what it feels like, and I have to say personally, I never told my parents any school issues. The remake did add in a couple extra scenes to buff up the emotion. We get a glimpse of Kyoko and little toddler Toru. I can only assume this was the moment Toru finally let the floodgates down and told her feelings to her mother. This little scene is so powerful. It shows the biggest moments of weakness for her at that time and how her mother helped her get through it. This was missing in the original and it is sorely missed. This little inclusion just added so much more weight to her words. Instead, the original showed different camera angles of Yuki and Kisa's mother. The last thing I wanted to point out was how Yuki's feelings are presented through his inner thoughts versus Toru's speech continuing through. This was a great change to show how much he is going through and how he relates to Kisa. The look on his face always makes me so sad. Let's continue on.
一番怖いのは、一番辛いのは、大好きな人に嫌われてしまうことだから。
The way Toru's words were able to break through Kisa's mother really touched me. Seeing the life come back to her eyes and her tears were so much to take in. It felt like a wave crashing into me in this scene. The original went about it a bit differently, but she was still touched by Toru's words either way. The way Kisa held Toru's hand afterwards are almost identical in both versions. Her tears and facial expressions are just as intense. Kisa at this moment probably felt closer to Toru than anyone else in the world. She took the words right of her thoughts and finally got it across to her mother. It was a wholesome moment all around.
寝ちゃった？はい。なんか全然離れようとしなかったね。重くない？
いいえ。
いいな、キサ。少しだけこうさせて。いつも弱い自分が恥ずかしくて、でも大丈夫だよって言ってほしい。それはきっと強くなりたいと願う勇気に、支えになってくれるから。
So this scene was drastically different between both versions. This was one of the scenes that the remake drastically improved on over the original. In the original, we see a moment where Yuki and Toru are watching a sleeping Kisa. We get a few different camera shots before it cuts to an image of Kisa surrounded by an angelic embrace. I can only assume that this was meant to show how warm and cozy she felt being with Toru, as if she were being embraced by an angel. Now let's look at the remake. Oh boy do I love this scene. We get a little conversation of Yuki and Toru while Kisa sleeps on her lap. He says to her, "I envy you." You might think some superficial meaning like, "Oh, I wish I could sleep on your lap, ha 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 ha," but I think it's a bit deeper than that. I think what he means is he envies that Kisa was able to have this helping hand in this time of distress while he was almost totally left alone. She was able to have this pillar of strength to lean on and rest. So when Yuki laid his head on her shoulder, he wanted to have this pillar to lean on as well. Maybe I'm just being my high school English professor and looking too much into it. So before moving on, let's take a second to admire Toru's blushing cute face. Ah yeah, that's the good stuff.
自分を好きになるってどういうことなんだろう。いいところってどうやって探すものなんだろう。嫌いなところしかわからない。わからないから嫌いなのに。そうじゃなくて、そうじゃない。そういうことじゃなくて、誰かに好きだって言ってもらえて、初めて自分を好きになれるんじゃないかな。誰かに受け入れてもらえて、初めて自分を少し許せそうな、好きになれそうな気がしてくると思うんだ。
This part really spoke to me because I always thought a lot back in high school, what good points do I really have? At the beginning of the year, the teacher would tell us to tell the class something you really like about yourself. I struggled really and just made up a generic answer. Sometimes even now I don't really have an answer. I'm sure I wasn't the only one that felt like this. Just know that no matter what, you aren't alone. That was really cliche, but this scene really highlighted that feeling for me. These two scenes side by side are almost the same. They both use changing camera angles as Yuki gives his speech to get the reactions out of everyone around him. There was a bit of budget flexing with them animating the letters slowly falling to the ground. One thing I really want to highlight is how much more serious this scene is in the remake. Yuki is trying to reassure Kisa through smiling and encouraging words in the original, while in the remake he is not even flinching and tells her straight up how he feels about this issue. Just the whole vibe of this scene is much lighter in the original. With the topic at hand, I can see why they chose to go for a much more serious feeling.
キサはこれからどうしたい？このままでいいと思う？
ダメ。ちゃんと頑張らなきゃダメ。もっとどんどんダメな人間になっていく。仲直りできなくても無視されたままでもちゃんと頑張らなきゃダメ。
そうだね。頑張ろう。俺も頑張る。そしてまた悲しくなったり辛くなったらここにおいで。ここには彼女がいてくれる。
久しぶり。やっと声聞けた。
Continuing on with these two themes of these two animes having two different vibes, we have this scene. In the original, Kisa is reinforced with love and care from Yuki and Hatsuhara. Kisa also does not say much except for a word after this whole speech. Yuki then goes on to tell her that their love is all they can do for her. This part was full of smiles and hugs, but it really felt lacking for me. It was sweet, but that was basically it. Yuki was basically telling her that they care, but you gotta suck it up and fix it on your own. Now the remake took it to a totally different level. Yuki eggs her on until Kisa realizes by herself what she has to do to grow, what she has to do to take that step forward. We get so much more out of her in this scene. Her voice is empowered with her newfound solution to her problems. These words carry such a great deal of weight into Kisa's character. Her speaking like this is such a big step in the right direction. We see the fruits of Yuki's labor as Kisa finally breaks down. The remake makes her presence really felt, unlike the original. In both versions, when Hatsuhara embraces Kisa, I couldn't help but fall apart. This really was all the reinforcements Kisa needed to get on the right path. Not only that, but this whole ordeal benefited Yuki as well. Through this interaction with Kisa, he realized himself how to love himself through another. This episode dives so deep into a topic that's hard for me to talk about, but the message was nothing less than stunning. I want to end this on a bright note that's super cliche. You are more than just your problems. You are a beautiful, stunning individual that has endless possibilities. So keep your head up. I'm sure going to try. And thank you for being here. Wow, what a deep ending if I do say so myself. I can't believe Fruits Basket is almost over. I'm going to be so bummed when it ends. But I hope you're enjoying this comparison. I tried my best not to be super somber, but it's tough out here, okay? Also, don't forget to leave a question down below for the upcoming Q&A next week. I'll be doing a giveaway for a really special item too, so look forward to that. Please subscribe so we can maybe hit our goal of 1K before December. We probably won't, but hey, goals aren't meant to be broken. Well, that's all I really have to say for now. There's going to be a second video going up with this one with all the amazing details of the giveaway, so watch it if you want to enter. I'm BriThi, your local DJ, signing off. Sayonara, friends.